Okay, everyone, we're about to get started. If we can find our seats, silence our cell phones, and if we can close the back door, the side doors, I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Monday, the 10th day of March in the year 2025. This is the City Council Caucus meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 4 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 4:02 p.m. May we have a roll call for the commencement of this caucus? Councilperson Ridley is not here yet. Councilperson Prinzeri.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano is walking in. Councilperson Soleil is not here yet. Councilperson Solomon is not here yet. Councilperson Gilmore, I believe, is outside. Councilperson DeGise.
Here.
Councilperson Rivera will not be here tonight. And Council President Waterman.
Here.
And I see we have Councilperson Gilmore and Councilperson Soleil present.
Denise is here. Denise is here too.
And we have Councilperson Ridley. So we now have 7 council members present at 4:02 p.m. On behalf of Council President Waterman and the members of the Municipal Council, in accordance with New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2025, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Friday, November 15th, 2024. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, March 7th, 2025, at 4:25 p.m. to the Mayor, Municipal Council, Business Administrator, Corporation Council, and the local newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Council President, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good afternoon. Director Kears.
Director, before we proceed, we got a special belated birthday shout out to our council president. Probably going to want to wait to the end if anybody wants to sing, because we don't want to hear any off-key canaries before we start. So with that being said, Director Kears, we're going to let you go.
Thank you very much, Sean, and happy birthday, Council President.
Thank you.
Good evening. I have several items before you today. The first one is Ordinance 25027 3.3. This ordinance will amend and supplement fees associated with the use of the Public Safety Training Facility. Since opening the facility, it was determined the present fee schedule is not competitive to attract smaller law enforcement agencies and was not inclusive of the fire training burns building scheduled to be open later this year. So what we're looking to do is attract some of the smaller police departments throughout the state. Just today, we had a meeting with the State Police Teams Unit, and it looks like they'll be moving forward into using the range. Since April 15th of last year, we've brought in about approximately $30,000 in fees, and what the goal is to have the fee schedule support the range itself, the operational end.
And Greg, this is just for fire and police, right? No other entities?
Yes, actually what we are doing, it's open for the United Nations security forces. And we had Goldman Sachs come in, and they're also training. They're all retired police officers. So we are, as I say, the main thing is what we're looking to do is make the budget cover the entire operating cost of the facility. Next is Resolution 25168. 10.23, resolution will authorize the public sale of 15 motor vehicles to the publicsurplus.com public online auction. Next is 25175 1030. Resolution will award a contract to Paramus Ford for the purchase of a 2024 Ford Transit passenger van for use by the Jersey City Fire Department. Total amount of this contract is $61,800.30. And the funding is available in the DPW capital account.
This was 1030, Greg?
This is 1030, correct. Next is 25-176, 1031. Resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Samuels Incorporated, trading as Bywise Auto Parts, to provide various automotive parts and supplies as needed. Total amount of the contract is $400,000 with a temporary encumbrance of $20,000, which is available in the automotive operating account. Next is 25-177, 10.32. Resolution reauthorizing the award of an open-end contract to Lawson Products for the purchase and delivery of various automotive parts and supplies as needed for the DPW Automotive Division. Total amount of this contract is $44,000 with a temporary encumbrance of $5,000, which is available in the automotive operating account. And the last is 25-178, 10.33. Resolution will authorize the award of contract of Northeast Sweepers and Rentals for the purchase and delivery of parts and repair services for the Ravo Street Sweepers. Total amount of this contract is $100,000 with a temporary encumbrance of $10,000, which is available in the automotive operating account.
Thank you. Thank you. Director Shea.
Before Director Shea speaks, I just want to mark Councilperson Solomon present at 4:08 PM. So we have 8 council members present at 4:08. Go ahead, Director.
Good evening, Council President. Good evening, council members. Happy birthday, Council President, belated birthday. The Department of Public Safety has 3 resolutions for the council's consideration on this week's agenda. The first one is agenda number 1027. It's resolution 25-172. It ratifies an agreement with Robert Santilli Consulting to provide maintenance and support services for the police department's existing software applications that were created about 15 years ago by Robert Santilli Consulting. It's a continuing resolution. It's in the amount of $55,000, and it's paid for out of the police department's budget. This is the software. Most of you are familiar with it, but this is the software that we use for overtime for accounting our police officers' presence, scheduling, etc.
Question.
The second resolution we have is agenda number 1028. It's resolution 25-173. It ratifies the award of an open-end contract to AAA Emergency Supply Company for the self-contained breathing apparatus used by our fire department for parts and hydro services under state contract. It's in the amount, the total contract's $100,000. We're only encumbering $30,000 because it will depend upon how much we use this equipment through the course of the year. Obviously, we all hope and pray that we use it as little as possible because it's what our firefighters use at fires. So this is for the self-contained breathing apparatus. And again, it's a continuing resolution, and the additional funds would be made available from the fire department's budget as additional parts are needed.
Question.
And the third and final resolution from the Department of Public Safety is agenda item number 1029. It's resolution 25-174. It's the award of a contract to the Affordable Interior Systems for the purchase and delivery of office furniture. It is under state contract, the office furniture. It's in the amount of $85,000, $170.96. This goes back to August of this year. We used forfeiture funds, and it's forfeiture funds from the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office that we are using to rebuild our facilities for interviewing victims and witnesses to sensitive cases. Much research lately that they should not be interviewed in interrogatory fashion. It should be in more of a home setting. Think children, sex crime victims, domestic violence victims. So both in our ordinary detectives and in our internal affairs, we are going to be building out those non-interrogatory spaces using this furniture.
Question. Question. Okay, off the agenda. Director Shea is here. Do anybody have questions? He's getting ready to leave.
We've sent the emails. He haven't responded. So, I mean, at this point, we'll move forward with the little confidence. I mean, the issues have been laid out for years. And part of the problem is the power is taken out of the council hand when each director is have not come back up for reappointment. So now my constituents are calling as it relates to traffic issues, why a particular fire station is not open, brownouts, all type of public safety issues. We're emailing the proper personnel to get responses, and we can't get responses. Right? So I've been sitting up here for 3 years. I've been hearing similar complaints before I was sitting on this council. So again, the administration have taken the power out of the council hand as it relates to us reappointing all directors. We run for re-election every 4 years. Why do directors have to be special and they have to be voted on every 4 years? Right? So again, they took the power out of our hands. This is something that we have the jurisdiction over, we have the power over to have a vote of no confidence. Again, the reasons are clear on the record. You heard Councilman Rivera specifically talk about the dangers of response times as it relates to fires. You heard Councilman Bogiano on several occasions talk about all type of different traffic infractions. I've been emailing the public safety director for over 3 years, asking about crossing guards. What is the comprehensive plan to address getting new crossing guards? There have been nothing presented. We've asked for an itemized budget when we spent upwards of $20-30 million. We still have not got that itemized budget. So at this point, what do we do when our constituency asks us what is being done as it relates to this? People are sending me all type of pictures, tractor trailers parked in bike lanes, cars parked on the sidewalk. They're calling, parking authority is not coming or they're not doing anything. I mean, at some point, we have to do something.
Thank you, Councilman. Now, Rich, you have something to say?
Yeah, a lot of the problems, a lot of the traffic issues and problems are because there are not enough personnel in the city here to operate the police department. There's not enough people in the parking authority to operate the parking authority. When I came on the police department, there were 1,160 cops. I think we're down to 800 something now. And I think it goes a lot higher too in the administration. And they have to start paying attention to the problems that people are complaining about, because we're getting our backs broken by people, and it's a shame. And so that's basically it. As I said, it goes a lot higher in this city here.
Yeah, I just want to ask a point of information, a point of inquiry, actually. Is this resolution, and this is more for the law department, is this a hearing, or what are we doing right now? Okay, I'm just.
Resolution is here. He walks out this door. We go with this resolution. Then one of the council members say, well, he was here. We should have questioned him. So that's why I'm keeping him here, to make sure we finalize this once and for all.
Good.
I'm tired of it keep coming back up. All right? So it's not on. This is how this happened. So if y'all want to ask him a question,
And
y'all want to ask him a question, he is here. We'll know what to do from there.
Joyce, can I also say something? The law department was supposed to arrange a meeting with us and the director and a few other people, and you never did.
Things in the public. now.
we had a closed door.
But we were told, somebody brought up an ordinance. They wanted.
If he don't remember it, so y'all need to say we had it. That's what I'm saying. Let's get it all out today, because I've had it.
I think we did.
There's enough of this.
closed Session, but Rich is speaking about that follow-up meeting that he requested, and also I requested that we were supposed to get to. So I mean, I don't know how the communication got lost there, but
The law department looked.
In the law
at the
department,
page.
I
They don't know.
don't understand what meeting you're talking about. We did have the closed session, but it's not for us to schedule any of the meetings.
They
I know
have-
Director Shea said he would make himself available if any of the communities wanted to meet.
I think John knows about it, right, John?
Speak up now.
There was a request a few months ago for a closed session. The closed session occurred. I'm not sure what we're missing here.
I think Rich had requested a meeting. Rich had requested a meeting outside of the closed session. No, Rich was at the closed session.
Right, right.
He
But
was
he's
there.
in a closed session. That's why they're confused. If it's community, then it's a different state.
No. I think what Rich is saying is that he's requested to have one-on-one meetings with the director and it's never come to fruition.
For the law department, I don't, what,
I had spoken to.
what is the particular subject and I can arrange the.
I had spoken to John. We were going to sit down, maybe two or three of us with the director and other people in the city about certain things, a lot of things that are going on in the city, and it never happened.
Councilman, if you could send me an email with exactly who you need in the room and what we're going to discuss.
Can
To say certain people for various things, then somebody's not going to be there and then we're going to be blamed again. So to make sure it's thorough.
So I'd like to raise a question. This is more of a procedural question, just to make sure that I'm understanding what is coming before council. The council has a right to do vote of no confidence, but that would be more akin to a censure. Yes?
Yes,
And then, but the other thing we could do is ask to, or request for a hearing.
yes, it would be, if you want to actually do a removal, you'd have to give notice, a hearing, and then a vote.
Okay, so what's being considered is more akin to a censure than
Yes.
anything else. Okay.
Can you explain the legal effect of us voting for this resolution if we were to vote for it?
There is none.
There's none.
Okay,
Country. It's a
okay. It's like a slap on the wrist, just like a public slap on the wrist, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. He's here, so I want to make sure if there's any questions, he can answer them, because we're gonna move on at this agenda.
I mean, like I said, I've sent the emails, I've asked the questions. Now that's an issue potentially, we don't have enough police officers. We see Tweet, we're the biggest police department we've ever been. I mean, at this point, something just has to be done, man. Something has to be done. There's issues that haven't been addressed. For the life of me, I can't understand how we don't have a traffic division to enforce simple stop signs, red lights, turning where prohibited. Like, we're a major city. Like, how we don't have a traffic division to address those infractions? And what do we do when residents call us? Oh, councilman, I'm walking my son to the school and someone blew a stop sign, or they went around a park bus. What do I tell them as a council person? Oh, you just got to live with it. We have no traffic division.
No, they ain't gotta live with it.
Meanwhile, our
Got 'em here.
taxes have tripled in depth. Like,
Is there
Director gonna have a chance to answer too, so that's why I'll make sure y'all get all your questions out. Because director, you gotta answer something.
would it be possible to get the data regarding how many moving violations have been given out throughout the city?
Councilman, absolutely. I am going to repeat what I have said multiple times. Requests to me need to come through the business administrator.
Oh,
Answer. I've said, I don't know how many times I've said that in front of here. I think we can go back to video on multiple things. Requests, we don't do individual requests to subordinates because we all have a chain of command. Any requests go to the business administrator, CC me, he'll check, yes, answer this, and I will get it back to you. But that's the statutory way it is supposed to be done. That way, I'm not doing something, answering something for someone when he thinks I'm doing something else. That's the way, and I think I've said that in the past. Seems to be confusion, but send it through the business administrator. If he thinks it's the appropriate use of our time and resources, he will have us do it and you'll get the answer. And I don't remember one that's not been done.
legal, if we have an issue as it relates to public safety concerns, does the law clearly specify that we articulate that to the business administrator who subsequently articulated to him?
Yes, you're supposed to speak through department directors,
So
through the
I
business
can't
administrator.
email, so if I send him an email asking a question, he basically can't answer it.
It's under the Faulkner Act.
It's under the Faulkner Act, yes.
the Faulkner, yeah.
It's a New Jersey state law, right?
It's crazy.
So I think that
Go ahead.
the issue is, we need to get one set way of doing things, right?
Correct.
Because most directors, you contact them, you email them directly, and then it's done, right? So that doesn't mean that what Director Shea is saying is wrong, but if you're used to emailing the director, like if I can
Directly.
email, let's try to pick on somebody that's not here, help.
No, say,
Right?
no,
Right? If
just-
I can
just say
email
director,
a
just say
different
director.
department and I can get an answer, then like, are we supposed to send all emails through the business administrator? Like, John is going to be overwhelmed.
That's his
I know how
job.
many emails I send every day. So
That's his job, right, John?
That's right. I'll
It's
find
his job.
I'll find sleep next week. It's okay.
He got two
No,
of
but
these. No, how many you have? You got 1, 2, 3 business administrators. Oh, he got help. Look,
So it's a formal process
Right.
to establish it through the business administrator this way. We could follow up appropriately. I can call the directors to task and then to make sure that the information that is going through is getting delivered to the entire council. We've had one-offs where a director will respond back to one council member, the other council member say they didn't get the information. So what's the most seamless way, a little more complicated, is to go through me, we get the information, give it to Sean, and he disseminates to everybody at the same time.
So if we have a meeting, if we have a question at this meeting, I gotta ask you to ask him.
That's why they come to the caucus meeting.
That's my whole point. I've said on the record several times. What is the comprehensive plan to address safety measures in crossing guard? On the record, I've said that several times. On the record, I've asked for itemized budget for the city spending 30, 40 million. That stuff is on the record.
Director.
Councilman, respectfully, the caucus meeting is for the items that are being presented at the agenda.
Oh,
Well, that's why we had
But-
closed sessions and budget hearings to address other items that, when we look at the budget hearing, how many do you have? How many do we need? What is the strategic plan? That it's not that we're going to buy an air conditioner. We're going to start talking about crossing guards.
Well,
That's not the purpose of the meeting today.
In all fairness to Councilman Gilmore, when we asked those questions, there was an issue with the crossing guards. When he asked that question, I remember, I go back, the answer was not there. But the reason why I'm doing it this way, because I know he has that on the agenda about dealing with the director. The director's here. I want the director to understand our concerns. And so I wanted him to be here to answer any of the council questions. Because the truth is, I'm tired of us going back and forth here. I'm sorry, directors, I'm holding up time here, but y'all got to understand, I've just been frustrated. We've been frustrated when it comes to public safety altogether. So that's why we're doing it this way, all right? And after all, we can't go off the agenda because we do it when we feel like it, when it's our subject that we like. And I see it, okay? So I just want you to know, this is what we're faced with. We wanted answers. Thank you. Now going forward, we know part of the challenges is getting everything to the BA. And so the BA will be responsible to make sure all directors know our concerns. That's what they're telling us. But directors, by no means, if we send you email, is it okay for them to answer us?
Just include me on the email.
I
but-
just
but-
want to make
But more
sure.
so for strategic, we make sure that Sean's on it so he could disseminate to all the council members, because sometimes we do actually get the same inquiry on different items. And instead of repeating that work a few times, or you guys extend yourselves to get that information, we already have it available.
John, just one simple question. Where's the itemized budget for the 30-something million the city just spent as it relates to updating the systems?
Councilman, the Director Moody had presented an 8-page memo describing what the details of the system are and
But
what was being replaced.
We voted on it already.
It was given to you that week. We went through this, Councilman. I'm not looking to be combative here. We went through this at the time of the vote. You asked, why didn't we get the information? We confirmed on the record that the memo was sent. That's all.
The memo ain't addressed what we asked to address. And you sending us information after a vote was taken. The same thing with the 95.5 program. We voted on it Wednesday and we got the email Thursday. How is that responsive, effective leadership?
Okay.
People get paid to answer questions. I don't know what is it, the big thing about just answering the questions? If you don't know the answer, say you don't know the answer.
Councilman, the memo was sent before the vote. If you didn't read it, that's a different story. But Sean had sent it out to the entire council, and council members on this day has confirmed they received it.
Okay. Director, you have anything you want to add here?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we had this conversation here. Director Patel.
Hello, council members. I have 3 resolutions for you for the Department of Infrastructure. I'll start with agenda item 10.40, resolution 25-185. This is a resolution to award a professional services contract to French and Perlo Associates to provide engineering design services. This is for the project that we've discussed previously, which is Manhattan Avenue and Franklin Street, related to a bike race grant we received from the New Jersey Department of Transportation.
Talk about this.
Yep, it should be,
All right, go ahead, Rich, you can start it.
should be delayed because we have the fire department here. And I'd like to have him come up and say something. The head of the union and one of the other fire representatives, the police department, the nursing home, the home for the blind, the people up in that area are all against it. It's a hot issue. What's the name of the food store on Central Avenue? They will not, what is it? Stop and Shop. They won't put it in writing, but they're against it. It's like a total shame. You can't disrupt Manhattan Avenue and Franklin Street. We spoke to Barker and Mike the other day at a meeting. They can reapply for a grant and put the money on these, some other streets in the Heights where they won't disturb, won't create a hazard. I mean, you have a hazard where a fire engine can, a hook and ladder cannot make a turn, and it's a shame. Joyce, can we have the fire, the head, you can come up and speak?
I would
Day.
just like,
Can we talk
Council
about the
President, if it's okay,
Yeah.
I would just like to clarify that
Yeah.
we have been considering 2 options
Okay.
for the advancement of this project, one of which would include the conversion of both Manhattan and Franklin into one-way streets. And the second option, which would only convert Franklin from a 2-way into a one-way street, which is the option that it seems from our conversations, people are more favorable to. And as the councilman said, we did discuss that with him, Councilman Rivera, Director Shea, Director Kearse, and others within the city. So I will step aside, and I don't know if you want someone else to come up.
Okay.
He wants to.
Yeah.
Representing the public safety, police, and fire. Fire department, the official fire department, we have our union presidents here. I respect them both. They'll speak on behalf of their members.
Okay.
Official fire department position is that this will add potential response time.
Okay.
So they would prefer not to do it. Having said that, it's important for the council to remember, we don't make policy. We give you our recommendations, we give you our advice. If you ask us, you won't do anything because anything could potentially add response time. And again, I'm not telling anyone how to vote. Personally, sorry to all the bike riders. I'm not a bike rider. I don't like bike lanes. That's just my personal opinion. But we do not, in the Department of Public Safety, make policy. We will provide our services in whatever environment you need.
Yeah.
The example I give is the pedestrian plaza on Newark Avenue. When you asked us about that, we said the same thing. It will increase response time. We would rather not have it. And then you made the decision, is it valuable enough? And made the correct one and said, no, we're going to put it in, and we deal with it. We'll deal with whatever we have to. So the fire department's official position is they would prefer not to, would rather not to, because it will add to their response time. But having said that, again, we don't make policy. We'll support whatever you decide to do, and we will operate in whatever environment there is in Jersey City, just like we do now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mike, you want to add something?
Oh.
I mean, I see you there. I don't want to overlook you. That's why I asked you. If not, don't feel forced to speak. You don't have to.
How confident are you about the turnaround time for the design for, if this was to be approved, what degree of confidence do you have that we could get it in before the deadline?
It's difficult for me to answer that question. When we talked about this 2 weeks ago at the last council meeting, I mentioned that even at that time, We have a very, very short window in order to complete the design plans that are required by the DOT before the deadline. We are now 2 weeks later, so that will be a difficulty moving forward. It's hard for me to say whether 100% it will be completed on time or not, but we will do everything we can to get the engineer started as quickly as possible.
Does the state allow us another extension, or what have they indicated to
The
you?
state's position so far has been that we are allowed the one extension that we received earlier this year, which brings us to June. However, if this moves forward, we will try to continue advocating. Obviously, if it doesn't move forward, then that is irrelevant. And I will say, to Director Shea's point, within the last several years, we have either by request of council members or community groups or through safety observations, presented several ordinances that convert two-way streets into one-ways across many wards of the city. Granted, that wasn't for bike lanes. It was for things like increasing residential parking by converting a two-way street into a one-way, for improving circulation, for other reasons. And all of those have been approved and implemented since then. So there is precedent of us exercising this option and redesigning our streets.
I guess, for me, honestly, I just think overall, the bike group, the SID, us as a council, the administration, we just did a horrible job at communicating and getting people to come to a reasonable compromise. My biggest issue right now is that I just don't feel confident awarding the contract when 2 weeks ago we were pushing it and now it's 2 weeks later. Right, so that's the major issue for me at this juncture right now. And for the life of me, I just don't understand how we couldn't have gotten this done, whether it's halfway on another block somewhere, do something. But right now, you've even stated, right, you don't really know to what degree of certainty you have as it relates to them being able to get the plan, get the contract, sign the contract, get the plans, get it to the DOT.
Yes, and the reason I say that is I don't want to mislead you as a
And
council.
I appreciate that.
And I don't want to mislead the community and overpromise and underdeliver. That wouldn't be a responsible thing for me to do. I will say that if the council decides to move forward on this, we will push and try to meet the deadline to the best of our ability. But I do want to be transparent in the steps that are required in getting there, which are giving the engineer clear direction on, a consensus option that the greatest number of people are on board with, having them actually do the technical design work, submitting that to the DOT to make sure all of their requirements are met, circulating that internally, finalizing those plans, getting the bid out, advertising it, and then awarding the bid. And so much can happen in the bid process as well. We may not get any bidders. So all of those steps are things that are still remaining. However, if this is the decision, then we have our marching orders and we will do everything that's required to get this done. We understand it's a priority for the community to have something in the Heights. We take that seriously, but I do want to lay out the steps that are required to get there.
Yes, I mean, I appreciate your honesty. Like I said, I guess the biggest problem for me is like there's no certainty, right? I go to the gym every morning. I will hope to get the 6 miles. Guess what? I don't get there every time, right? So now you're asking the council to spend, what is it, 160,000? 160,000. Quick question. So what happens if, well, I guess once they start any work, they will have to be paid up until that point, right?
Yeah, and let me just clarify too, the 162,000 includes the design of the project, so preparing the engineering plans to submit to DOT for their review and approval, but it also includes the follow-on construction inspection. So once the contract is awarded, a construction, the DOT requires us to have a construction inspector on site doing all the paperwork and inspecting the project. So there's a little bit less of a risk of spending the full amount if the project doesn't ultimately go to construction. Obviously, what I was going to add is that, you know, every project like this, every safety project has trade-offs, right? And in this case, there's no way for our department to put dedicated cycling facilities on this street without some kind of trade-off, either significant loss of parking or one-way conversion. So if the council is not prepared to support one of those options, then
Right,
really it wouldn't make sense to vote yes on this because we'd
Right.
be designing something that ultimately isn't going to get the support
correct.
of the final recommendation of the configuration. So
So, quick question, Mike or Barker. So what if anything, so there's no other DOT grants that can have this come to fruition in another area?
there's several DOT grants that we use to construct bicycle facilities. Municipal aid grants can be used to stripe bike lanes. This Bikeways grant program is another program, but when you apply for a competitive program like this, the Bikeways program, you apply for a corridor. If you don't use the funding on that corridor, you're not allowed to use the funding. You have to apply in the next round, and there's a new round every year, so there's always an opportunity to select another corridor, another project for this grant program. But we do have this one in place. We have been working, 3 years, engaging the community on
You got more questions?
reducing this. So
Okay, we got more questions. Go ahead. Go ahead, Amy.
I just want to talk about the practice with emergency vehicles. I see that we received something that had some response times. I wanted to know if your department did any routine practices with it being converted into a one-way, or what the bike lane, like are ambulances and fire trucks able to turn correctly?
Member, I don't know if she has anything, but at our last meeting, the fire chief and the local deputy chief, that covers that area, said they estimate 45 seconds to a minute to some locations would be added, not to the entire box, but to certain trucks arriving at the box. And as you know, that sometimes can screw us up a little bit because the truck gets there before another truck. So we will have to do major adjustments if we do this. If we have to operate in a different environment like this. But that was their number on response time. And that was a rough estimation, but they're experts and I trust them. When they give a rough estimation, it's usually pretty close to the numbers.
Another question?
Then our practice for that is obviously designing and implementing a radius around a street corner. We test it we run auto turn analysis using the trucks, essentially the largest trucks that we have in the city's fleet for the fire department, and implement a radius that works for those trucks. Sometimes we've gone out a little bit too much and it's been difficult for trucks to turn. And in those cases, the director will let me know and we'll adjust and pull things back so that it works for their vehicles.
We hear from the fire union.
Yeah, can they?
Wait, did y'all finish your questions? Because then I'll call them up.
Yeah, no, I want to hear
Okay.
what the people have.
All right. Y'all done? Y'all sure? All right, come on. We got the fire directors here. Please come up.
That your boy?
Yeah.
And Jack got them.
Good afternoon. Chief
Good
Black,
afternoon.
President of the Fire Officers here in Jersey City. 33 years on the job, longtime resident here. In your hand, you should have a packet that we completed with the help of the Professional Firefighters in New Jersey and the International Association of Firefighters. You can cut right to the chase, go right to the back page. This is an updated sheet based on response times on the proposed changes that will be made to Franklin and Manhattan Avenue. So you'll see, if you just go all the way to the last column on the last page, the time that it's going to add to a response time, because we cannot go down Sherman Avenue and cut over, because Sherman Avenue can barely fit a regular car, never mind a fire truck. We can't make those turns. We have to go all the way down Laidlaw, over and back up, adding minutes possibly to a response time. Not only that, you are now going to have companies, as the director alluded to, who should be fourth due getting their second due getting their fourth due, and it will change our whole operation on what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. This is a bad plan, just like many other of the bike lanes that have happened in the city that have added an increase to response time, police, fire, and EMS. But this is the first time with the enhanced version of a GIS study that we're able to provide you, the council. You've received multiple letters from me on this issue, black and white, This is a bad idea. It's a dangerous idea and should not be approved.
Yes, Jack, you want to add something?
Jack Collins, President of Local 1066, Uniform Firefighters of Jersey City. He laid it all out. It's very clear. It's here. You have to keep in mind, response times are important for a very simple reason. Fire doubles every 30 seconds it's burning. Some of these situations, and these are ideal situations. This is ideal what the increase would be. Some of these, there are 3-minute response time increases. Imagine the size of a fire. Our paramount concern are the citizens of Jersey City, and our paramount concern are our members. These response times will ensure that there are larger fires, larger circumstances that we have to save people from, larger circumstances that put my members in jeopardy, his members in jeopardy, your members in jeopardy. You have the best fire department in the state. We're asking you to take that into account. We do the job. Like the director said, we will answer. We always have, we always will. We're just asking to reconsider this plan. If this was anywhere else, it would probably not even be an issue. A side street like Sherman or somewhere else, it causes these problems. Sometimes it's just obvious. We're not saying that we don't want bike lanes anywhere, that the bike lane riders' rights aren't important. But I heard paramount, I heard trade-offs and other things. Well, what's paramount to me, my members. There is no trade-off for their safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to also say we have a letter from the head of the police officers, and they're way against it also.
Okay, next one. Barker next. We exhausted this.
Okay. The next one is agenda item 10.34, resolution 25-179. This is a resolution to award a contract to Schichtel's Nursery for the U.S. Department of Agriculture's supply and delivery of trees throughout the city for the Department of Infrastructure. And then the next resolution is related to this one.
I know there was some talk,
Yes, we have a working list of locations. Do you want to?
Amanda.
I'll invite Amanda, the sustainability director.
okay.
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, we have a working list of locations that we're identifying to be planted all along MLK Drive for this particular project. It is still a working preliminary site listing, and it won't be finalized all the way up until we're at the construction point, because we need to do 811 markouts prior to actually doing any sort of construction.
I just want to state for the record that I think it's a great idea to put trees on MLK. I'm not oblivious to the fact that there are currently trees there that's giving homeowners hardships. So I just hope that, we do our due diligence as it relates to the proper bedding, because apparently you have to have a certain amount of.
Yes.
I just hope that that's good, because I don't want to have another meeting with a group association. Y'all got to pay for this. Oh no, the tree belongs to us, but the concrete belongs to y'all. Y'all got to put the concrete up so we can shave the roots and all of that stuff. But all in all, I love the fact that we're going to have some trees on MLK. It's hot out there.
Yep.
So
Amanda, how long was this project in the works?
I'm sorry?
Amanda, how long was this project in the works? I remember this is like 2 years. What is this project?
So the entire USDA grant is a 5-year grant. However, this project and both of these contracts are 1-year contract for, I think, up to 2 1-year renewals for the construction and 1 additional 1-year renewal for the tree purchasing. I do not intend for this to take longer than 2 planting seasons, starting this fall and going into next spring. So I really don't intend that we'll need to do the renewal next year, but in case that we do have that option, and we could extend it further, whether we needed more time in the spring planting season of 2026, or if we needed to go into the fall planting season of 2026.
Do you identify sites already? Because I thought you did a walkthrough.
Yes. So following the walkthrough with you, Council President, and the several meetings that you've had with the team, with the SID, We have a list of ideal candidates for locations where tree plantings could happen. That's the list we're working off of. And one by one, the team here in sustainability is going through all of them to then understand what utilities are underneath, whether they can be planted exactly in that same site or they have to be moved a couple feet in either direction. And then also trying to coordinate with each property owner along the corridor to accommodate them, because as you know, in some cases, property owners don't want it directly in front of their door or shop windows. So we try to do the best that we can to accommodate for all of those things while also getting trees on the entire corridor. So that is the work that's happening right now. And to your point, Councilman, we are envisioning larger tree pits. As you'll see, there are many trees on MLK right now that are dead or dying. So we're identifying why that is happening, whether it's because of the small size of the tree pit or some other issue, trash blocking, water from getting into the root bed or whatever it is, addressing those things and then expanding the tree pits where we need to so they have the best chance of survival and they can thrive on the corridor.
Hey, Barker, if you can, if you guys could just share the working list with my
Sure.
office. So that way the individuals in the area is privy to, what.
Yes.
Questions?
This might be more for the law department. I know that we have written in like our forestry standards, if someone removes a tree, they have to replace it. I see sometimes, mostly in front of residences, they do remove public trees. They don't always get replaced. Is there a fine attached to that?
There is.
Just a quick, yeah, okay.
It's an ordinance violation, so it can be a fine of up to $2,000 depending on the value of the tree. If it's greater than that, we've also reserved the rights to take them to court for damages to city property.
Now that, it was nice out today, we're kind of looking a little more, I do see it happening. So I don't know if there's a way to put in this grant or just with whatever tree policy that we do, that we have a monitoring for a tree that we know in a year or two that they're still there, they're thriving, and that we hold people or businesses or homes accountable for abusing these trees.
Yes, we absolutely agree. So our plan through this grant is to put together a maintenance plan for what will happen following the planting. So the first step, which will be something that's standard across all of our tree planting activities, is that there will be a 2-year period wherein the contractor themselves are responsible for regular maintenance of the tree, watering, tree care, all of that. And then beyond the 2 years, we're putting together a plan for what that looks like through the city staff, both with the Division of Sustainability under my department and the Division of Forestry under the Department of Public Works, how many hours for staff will be dedicated to tree care, what that will look like, how often they will visit these trees, all of those things, which I just have to say forestry has been doing a great job with monitoring that so far. And our team has been doing regular checks on recent tree plantings. So we will put that together and submit that to the council and to all of the commissions that we work with, the Shade Tree Committee, the Environmental Commission, to make sure that everyone's on board with the plan as this work is happening.
Hey, John, just a quick question. With regards to the trees, does the rule change when it's on your actual property versus in that shared space as it relates to cutting them down?
There will be an ordinance going forward that's going to require a permit to remove trees on private property. I don't believe we've attached a violation schedule to it. Assuming it could be there, but it's just a standard ordinance violation, but I'm not sure that's in the code or not. I'd have to take a look at it.
And Councilman, that's related to regulations across the state from the DEP that all municipalities are now going to be required to do even on private property. So it's just something that, we've been hearing about from the state for a few months now.
So, I mean, because like some of these, we have a lot of trees, and we have some of these beautiful trees, but they look like, I can't tell if they're dead or if they're alive, because it's just like the trunk, and then it's like a skeleton, no leaves or branches ever grow on it, but the trunk has been there for years, which would suggest that it's still alive. And I know I have personally seen people across the street, when they built the 2 new houses, they took the big tree down in the front and in the back. I was under the impression that because it was on their personal property.
So even if it's on their private property, they are still required to get approval for
permit?
things like that.
Oh.
If they are redeveloping a property or tearing something down and building a new, all of that gets taken care of in the site plan review process.
Okay.
Where one of the review agents of that development review process is the city forester. And so they will determine whether it's okay for that property owner to remove that tree and pay a fee, which then goes back into planting new trees, or if there's some other remedial action that they can take. So there, because we had for several years a gap and we didn't have someone in that position, some of those things were contracted out for that review. Now that we have a city forester and that staff has grown, they are taking a closer look at all of those applications that come in. And in any cases where we can avoid removal of mature trees like that, we are encouraging applicants to do so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool.
And then I'll just say so this resolution is tied to the one that we just talked about, which is agenda item 10.35, resolution 25-180. This is a resolution awarding a contract to Watch Us Grow Landscape Design. And this is for the USDA grant for tree planting in 2025.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Baker?
Happy birthday, Council President. Good evening, council members. I have 3 resolutions before you this afternoon. First is item 10-24, resolution 25-169. It's a resolution ratifying the award of a contract to Entrado Life and Safety Solutions Corporation for the maintenance of the 911 system under New Jersey State contract for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Communications and Technology Center. It's in the amount of $166,569. This is the continued maintenance and support and security updates for the existing 911 center, which, we must maintain while we're going through the process of, hopefully switching it out. We need to keep it in this top running condition. Next one, item 10-25, resolution 25-170. It's a resolution ratifying an award of a contract to Gold Type Business Machines Incorporated for the automated license plate reader called LPR. It's the annual maintenance and repair service through the New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Alliance, Bergen County Corp. For the Department of Public Safety, Division of Communications and Technology. This is in the amount of $64,200. And again, this is the annual maintenance and update of our ALP cameras that are both fixed mounted throughout the city and on our city vehicles.
Director, on the ALPRs, I know we were going to deploy them with our parking enforcement unit to track the resident.
They're on them. That's right. They're on them also.
Yeah, can you give us a number either today or before Wednesday of how many are on our, with our parking enforcement division?
I believe the parking enforcement currently has 4.
4, okay, to do the residential parking.
Those are the one I know I was directly involved in. I put 4 on the view.
And are you aware of more being deployed at any point in the near future?
Oh, yes, positively.
Okay, if you could get us a number of how many, what the timeline would be.
Sure.
To be able to do the residential parking.
What I did too, if you're interested, I printed just last 7 days of what the ALPRs have done for the police department.
Yeah, that'd be great to see.
Approach. John,
Appreciate that. Thank you. How many do we have? Oh, sorry.
I think he's trying to save paper. Yeah.
Do we have more than 4 citywide?
There.
Director, do we have more than 4? So I know we have 4 for parking enforcement. Do we have more for the police that they're using, the automatic license plate readers, or okay? Is it possible to put them on the borders of Jersey City near?
They are already. What's nice about this particular system, it's not just limited to what Jersey City owns, but we have access to them nationwide, excuse me. So we could technically follow a vehicle from Jersey City to California, if we had to and stuff. It's just a matter of putting it in. And you'll see that's just 7 days of what the system was able to do on the PD side.
Jeez.
Can we do these with traffic violations?
Yes.
Oh, what the,
Do they get alerted? Like, do the police get alerted when they're like,
Absolutely.
hey, that's awesome.
this
Okay.
is pretty cool.
Any more questions?
And my last one is item 10-26, resolution 25-171. It's a resolution authorizing an award of a contract to SHI International Corp. for the Dell VX rail servers, maintenance and upgrade for all public safety servers through the New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Alliance, Bergen County Co-op for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Communications and Technology. Again, just like the 911 system, this is the continued support to the existing server system that we have located at Bishop Street. Updates these the securities and the versions for software.
Wasn't Shy International, John, was that the Metro, was that the company we contracted? Remember they was supposed to do some type of SWOT analysis? Is this the same? This is not them? Remember we was going to do.
About IXP.
Oh, IXP. Okay, so it's all right.
Yeah, Councilman, this is just a digital asset that we use for statewide contracts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Owen?
Good afternoon, Council President, members of City Council. HHS Food and Nutrition has one item for your consideration. Resolution 25167, item number 10.22. This is a memorandum of understanding between the Jersey City Housing Authority and the City of Jersey City to use JCHA facilities to host congregate meals at Berry Gardens, Holland Gardens, and Booker T. Washington. This MOU sets up obligations and expectations for both parties. Among those, number of participants, space to operate, prior notification of any events that would affect lunch, following serve safe procedures, and meeting guidelines for state inspection.
Director, with the next sort of 6 months, we expect Holland Gardens to close. What would be the plan to redistribute that to a different site? Obviously, in my district for public housing, I have TJ Stewart as well.
We would, if that site were closed, we would consider any site as long as they follow our guidelines for lunch, because we have to, our resources are thin. We just had somebody retire, so we have to make sure, but obviously we would consider and we would discuss with the site.
Yeah, I'd love to discuss with you and the Housing Authority team, just
absolutely
when that happens, TJ Stewart as an alternative to move this over. I don't know if we would have to amend this or not to before Wednesday, but
no, this wouldn't. If this is Housing Authority, it would not need to.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
Joseph?
Afternoon, Council President, council members. This is ordinance 25-026, which is to amend Chapter 131, the Uniform Construction Code, requiring applicants for construction permits to demonstrate prior approvals from certain city officials and agencies. The main amendment to this is to add the JCMUA to the list in order for them to collect their fees and get their approvals prior to my office issuing permits.
What number is this again, Director?
Item 3.2.
Oh, 3.2.
Thank you.
Director, is there a state law that says that the JCMU has to sign off?
No, this would be a local ordinance.
Okay.
Does it fall under the state laws? That's why we created a local law.
Sure, I don't have any issue with adding the JCMU. I just like to add the payroll tax office to be able to determine to make sure that any contractor or developer is in compliance with the payroll tax. So if we have the legal authority at MUA, I'd love to add the the payroll tax office as well.
Okay.
So
And
I can work with the law department on it.
the MUA will be paying for this platform?
No. The contractors and developers would have to apply to the MUA for their approval for and water permits. And in the past, the permits were getting issued without the approval.
Yes, so
Therefore, they had to negotiate the fees
Yeah.
and the approvals after the fact.
So it unifies the actual
Yes.
process.
Now they will not get issued until those fees are paid.
Get you on a job a couple months coming in here rectifying things.
Thank you.
Good job.
Joe,
Thank you.
Good job.
thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Stacy?
Good afternoon, Council. I'm presenting from the Municipal Court, Resolution 25-183, item number 10.38 on the agenda for your consideration. This is a resolution just authorizing a no-cost extension of a contract that the court under the Community Solutions Program has with New Jersey Institute of Technology. Earlier in 2024, a contract was awarded, which is fully grant funded for a period of 8 months, but NJID has asked for a few additional months to fix and tweak a couple items before the project is finalized.
Thank you. Okay. Matt?
Afternoon. I am here on two resolutions. First one, item 10.19, resolution 25-164. This is a resolution prepared in coordination with the council president. Title, resolution of the city council municipal, resolution of this Jersey City Municipal Council authorizing the planning board to conduct a preliminary investigation of the conditions on block 16502, lot 29, aka 665 Bergen Avenue, to determine if such area meets the criteria to be declared an area in need of redevelopment without the power of condemnation, more specifically a non-condemnation area. This has a resolution with a map attached to it. You'll see on the map that it identifies a lot on the corner of Fairview Avenue and Bergen Avenue. All right, I have another item, 20.20, resolution 25-165. Another long title for us. Resolution of the Jersey City Municipal Council authorizing the planning board to conduct a preliminary investigation of the conditions of block 13103, lot 1, aka known as 155 Montgomery Street, to determine if such area meets the criteria to be declared an area in need of redevelopment without the power of condemnation, more specifically a non-condemnation study area. This as well has a map attached to it. It is a lot that's right behind City Hall here on facing streets York, Marin, and Montgomery. Probably familiar with it. It is a parking lot at this time.
So just on this one, I have met with the developer here, but just 2 points. I mean, one is I think they should meet with the Van Voorst Park VV NA just to move that forward. It's right on the border, but that should happen. And then the second is I'm still working with them on this question of public school contribution. Is this monetary? Is this physical? And so to me, that's just unanswered. So obviously, want to continue those conversations as it moves forward.
Understood. A community meeting doesn't have to be ahead of possible designation.
No, because I know the designation is a process, but it's, it should be.
Okay, understood.
Should be ongoing. Yeah, thanks.
So this is like the first step in the process. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian?
Good afternoon, Council. Brian Rance with the Division of Community Development. I have 11 resolutions for you.
First one is agenda item 10.9, resolution 25-4. It's a resolution of the municipal council to authorize the business administrator to execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 154 Pine Street. On March 8th, 1999, a constituent executed a note and mortgage in favor of the city of Jersey City to secure a $5,815 loan under the home improvement program. This indebtedness is a deferred payment, no interest mortgage. Upon the 5th year after signing the mortgage, it shall be forgiven in its entirety. Pursuant to the repayment schedule, nothing is owed, and we're just asking for the BA or for authorization for BA to execute a discharge of mortgage. The second resolution is agenda item 10.10, resolution 25-155. It's a resolution authorizing the business administrator to execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 30 Laidlaw Avenue. On January 30th, 2006, a constituent executed a mortgage and note in favor of the city of Jersey City to secure $22,279.35 from the Golden Neighborhood Homeownership Program. The mortgage was a 10-year mortgage, and pursuant to the mortgage's repayment schedule, no payment is due from the borrower at this time. So we're asking your permission for the business administrator to execute a discharge of mortgage. Third resolution is agenda item 10.11, resolution 25-156, a resolution of the municipal council of the city of Jersey City authorizing the BA to execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 338 340 Holiday Street. In January of 1993, a constituent executed a note and mortgage in favor of the city to receive $52,000 to acquire the property at 338 340 Holiday Street. The owner intends to sell the property pursuant to the terms of the mortgage. This is a 95.5 property. The recapture is $64,609.23. Upon receipt of that money, we would execute the discharge of mortgage.
I thought we voted on this one.
So we pulled this one just to get clarification on who was requesting the discharge, the individual who processes these office, and then we confirmed it was the attorney for the homeowner.
Okay. I just got I guess a question with regards to the discharges. Because a lot of these programs, they're like 10 and 15 years, and we're just removing them. I understand the ones for the people that's selling, but the ones where the money, like you've satisfied the terms of the loan. Is there any way, and I guess legal can jump in here, is there any way where this thing can be like automated? Because what happens is life. Sometimes people die, sometimes people go ill, and then it becomes hard for the family to navigate the process because they may not have become executive of a state, or the owner may be in a mental institution, a rehab institution, and it kind of like makes a hardship for the family. So I'm just asking if that's a possibility.
Yeah, that is a possibility, and that's our intention moving forward.
Okay.
Record keeping throughout the years has not been the best. So sometimes it's figuring out what is encumbering the property, and that often requires a title search. But we do have some records, and with available staff time, we're going to start looking to proactively do this because there's no recapture.
Not the 95.5s though, the other ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then the next item is agenda item 10.12, resolution 25-157. It's a resolution of the municipal council authorizing the business administrator to execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 386A Johnson Avenue. On July 8th, 1993, a constituent executed a mortgage and note in favor of the city of Jersey City for $52,000 to acquire the property on Johnson Avenue. The owner intends to sell the property, and pursuant to the 95.5 clause in borrower's promise, paragraph 1C, $64,273.95 due to discharge the mortgage. Like all the other 95.5 mortgages, upon receipt of the funds, when the transaction closes, we'll discharge the mortgage. Agenda item 10.13, resolution 25-158. It's a resolution of the municipal council authorizing the business administrator to execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 445-447 Pacific Avenue.
On July 27th, 1995, the constituent executed a mortgage and note in favor of the city of Jersey City for $60,000. On February 28th, 2002, this constituent then sold the property to the current owner for $106,702, which was considered the affordable price. And then the new owner assumed all the responsibilities under the mortgage and the affordability agreement. Now, the current owner wants to sell the property, and pursuant to the terms of the mortgage, $96,202.33 is due and owing. And upon receipt of the money, we're looking to discharge the mortgage.
And we approved the sale from one to the other and made sure we checked the boxes as it relates to them being eligible and stuff.
Correct. Usually what happens, and I think this has been in front of the council previously, we have the new owner sign an assumption agreement just to memorialize and record that they're assuming all the responsibilities. And then if they have a lender, we usually subordinate so they can acquire financing. And that happened in this instance.
And what's the rule? They can't sell it for more than what they brought it for, right?
Correct. We have a resale and recapture policy, and it's based on federal law that they're supposed to receive a reasonable rate of return.
Okay.
There's multiple methodologies. The methodology we use is utilizing the CPI. So we have a calculator. No matter what, the homeowner gets their equity back depending on how much they put into it. And then also the inflation over the course of how long they had the property.
All right.
Next one, Brian.
Okay, resolution 1014, resolution 25-159. This is a resolution of the Jersey City Municipal Council authorizing the business administrator to discharge an affordable housing agreement dated May 22, 1995 with JP Affordable Housing Holding Co. City of Jersey City and Jersey City Redevelopment Agency executed a contract of sale of land to Lafayette Park Scattered Site Project to JP Affordable Housing Holding. These are the projects with a lot of the 95 clauses that you see every council. On May 22nd, 1995, the city executed the affordable housing agreement. The agreement stated that it had to be, the properties had to be affordable to low and very low income homeowners for a minimum period of 20 years. Each home was sold to an eligible homeowner and they signed a mortgage, essentially assuming all the affordability requirements. And since the affordability period is expired, we're just looking to discharge the mortgage, the affordability agreement.
Is there, I'm trying to understand, is there, so we're taking away the affordability requirement or?
No, so these are all the 95.5 properties that are no longer considered affordable. The city no longer deems them as affordable.
Got it.
Pursuant to the terms of the affordability agreement, the restrictions have already expired. And then it just says within a reasonable amount of time, the city's supposed to have a discharge of the affordability agreement. So this is really just a technicality.
Understood.
Resolution 1015, or I'm sorry, agenda item 1015, resolution 25-160. A resolution of the Jersey City Municipal Council authorizing the BA to discharge an affordable housing agreement dated June 11th, 1993 with JP Affordable Housing Holding Co. Again, the City of Jersey City and the JCRA executed a contract of sale for Phase 4 of the Lafayette Park Affordable Housing Project to JP Affordable Housing. On June 11th, 1993, the city executed the affordable housing agreement, which memorialized all the terms and conditions for the resale of those properties to eligible homeowners. The restrictive period was 20 years. Each homeowner assumed those responsibilities by executing a mortgage, but the 20 years has expired and we're just looking to discharge the affordability agreement.
What addresses are these ones?
On the second page of the resolution,
I have them there.
A lot of them are on Pacific Avenue and Holiday Street. Agenda item 1016, resolution 25-161, a resolution of the Municipal Council authorizing the award and execution of subrecipient agreements for summer youth programs under the Community Development Block Grant Public Services Program for program year 2024, which runs from April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025. HUD awarded the city of Jersey City $5,267,978 in CDBG funds for program year 2024. Pursuant to the awarding resolution earlier this year on January 15, 2025, the city and municipal council reserved $100,000 for summer youth programming when children are out of school and they need constructive activities to pass the time and improve their lives. We scored all these applications, we reviewed them, they're all eligible, and we're just looking for authorization to execute and award the money so we can reimburse these subrecipients.
Next one.
Okay, agenda item 1017, resolution 25-162, a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City authorizing a contract with Dribbin and Associates CPAs, PLC, for auditing and monitoring services for our 2023 CDBG, ESG, and HOPWA subawards. We receive a large amount of money from HUD, and one of the requirements is that we have to make sure our partners are complying with the law. In the event that we don't comply with the law, the HUD usually asks us to pay back the money with non-federal funds or take a voluntary grant reduction. We've had an opening on our org chart for a senior auditor. We've had difficulty securing that position. And due to that absence, we've decided to contract with a CPA firm to perform audits and monitoring pursuant to 2 CFR 200 regulations to ensure that our subrecipients are complying with all the rules. This is extremely important because the first thing HUD says when they come to our office is, show me that you monitor your subrecipients. So this is a professional organization. We put out an RFQ. They had the most affordable quote, and we're really excited to work with them.
You have faith in them?
This is the first time we've contracted with them, but from our interactions, I do have faith.
Okay.
So resolution 25-166, agenda item 10.21, a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City authorizing the award of $603,339.92 and the execution of a subrecipient agreement with the City of Jersey City Housing Authority to administer the last tranche of emergency assistance, rental assistance, which was passed a long time ago in the CARES Act back in 2020. So we finally got our third tranche, and we're really excited to award it. Just to summarize, the American Rescue Plan allocated $21.55 billion for emergency rental assistance for people who were impacted by the pandemic and were considered low income with incomes not to exceed 80% of AMI. We received an initial tranche, and then you can only get the second and third tranches after you spend down the money. So in November of last year, we received the second tranche. We awarded that to the Housing Authority, and we recently received the third tranche, and we're looking to do that. This is the final tranche that we've received from the City of Jersey City. From the Department of Treasury. And the period of performance actually expires this November. So it's really important to get this money out so the Housing Authority can provide rental assistance.
Do you have recipients already identified and, that haven't been evicted or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, so it gets a little complicated since technically the emergency is over, but the residual effects of the pandemic, loss of income, health problems, has kind of caused a snowballing effect. So people have been experiencing poor credit, had been having difficulty maintaining their homes. The Housing Authority has a wait list still with a lot of people who want assistance. So what they did last time was they went through the list. In the event they were still facing housing instability, they processed the payment. If not, they just moved on to the next person. They advised us in the event that they run out of applicants, they will publicize to the public for individuals who need rental assistance.
And the money's in the account right now, or? Okay,
correct.
That's important because you know what's going on down in DC.
Or the administration changed, we executed all the paperwork and then they wired it to us. So the money's there.
Awesome.
Any more, Brian? Good.
I'm sorry, Council President.
Any more? That's it?
One more. So agenda item 1018, resolution 25-163. It's a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City authorizing the award of a competitively bid contract to Civitas LLC to provide technical assistance and consulting services to the Division of Community Development with all aspects of HUD grant management and program implementation. As I stated previously, the city received a large amount of HUD funding, $5,267,970 in CDBG program funding, as well as home funding, ESG funding, and HOPWA funding. These programs are very technical. You don't go to law school to learn about HUD grants. You actually have to kind of re-educate yourself, and a lot of it is based on past precedent and your experience in the program. So since I've been here and long prior, the city of Jersey City has been contracted with Civitas to help provide us with consulting, grant management assistance that helps us formulate our annual action plans, our consolidated plans, does environmental reviews, reviews our manuals, our contracts. So our last contract expired. We went out to bid. We received 2 bids, and then we chose the bid that I guess most met our needs and was also the most affordable. And they agreed to provide a 1-year contract of $120,000 with 3 additional 1-year term renewals. And we're asking council to approve this contract.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much, council.
Thank you.
Jim?
Amen.
Good evening, council members, and happy birthday, council president. I have 4 items for today. First agenda is 10.36, Council Resolution 25-181. It's a resolution authorizing the payment of a claim submitted by CRC Claims Resolution Corp. For providing third-party administrative services for workers' comp and liability claims for the city. The total for the account is $212,499.96, and this was for the period of January 24 through December of 24. At that time, we had a issue with somebody in our office, a personnel matter, and fortunately, he's made it back to us. So, but it wound up going on our agenda as an approval.
Any questions? Next year.
Okay. Agenda number 10.37, resolution authorizing renewal of a contract to Total Administrative Services Corp., also known as TASK, to provide third-party administrative services for retiree and Chapter 375 direct billing, COBRA notices, and flexible spending account claims for the Division of Human Resources, Office of Employment Benefits. This is a renewal contract from April 1, 2025 to March 31, 2026, and they've been providing services for our retirees for over the last year, and I think so as well so far. Question? Okay, agenda item 10.39, resolution 25-184, a resolution ratifying the award of extraordinary unspecifiable services agreement with Claims Resolution Corporation, Inc. to act as a third-party administrator for workers' compensation and liability claims for the city of Jersey City. Total amount of the contract awarded is $229,000 to be paid in 12 installments monthly, $19,083.33. It's note that there was one proposal in this process when it went out to RFP, and the contract is proposed for 1 year with a 2-year renewal option.
I was going to say, is this to like investigate workers' comp claims or?
No, they administer. So they basically oversee all the workers' comp claims, and they review the amounts for proposed settlements. They work with the attorneys, and they also discuss matters with counsel concerning any proposed settlements to ensure that we're getting what's consistent with market rate.
Got it.
Item 10.41, resolution 25-186, resolution awarding a professional services agreement to Biancamano and DiStefano PC to provide the defense counsel services related to workers' compensation claims petitions filed against City of Jersey City. This is a contract to not exceed $60,000. Each case will be paid $1,500. And it's effective January 1 of 2025, and it expires in a 1-year period. They've been providing services with us previously. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed your birthday, Council President.
Danny? Annie? Ask that, ask that.
Good afternoon, Council President, members of the council. For your consideration, I have one item. It's agenda number 10.1, resolution number 25-146. And it's a resolution authorizing an emergency temporary appropriation for calendar year 2025. And the funding is necessary for the continuance of city services without any disruptions. Any questions?
Council, just a quick update. We're finalizing some of the components of the budget. We probably won't see it at the next council meeting, but we're looking to introduce early in April.
Thank you and happy birthday.
Good afternoon, council members and council president. I'm Laura from the tax assessor office. I have one resolution number 24-152, item 10.7. A resolution granting a veteran's exemption for the block 11009, lot 2, qualifier C005, property location 377-379 3rd Street, from local property taxation pursuant to the chapter NJSA 54-3.30. Property owned by 100% disabled veterans are eligible for 100% tax exemption on their primary residence. Therefore, I'm requesting the municipal council to authorize the tax collector to refund or cancel 10 months of property taxes in the amount of $9,663.30.
I was going to ask something regarding the senior tax refund, if that's okay.
That's something with the state, if you're referring to the freeze.
Yeah, it's like a $250.
Yes, that's with the tax assessor. No, that was different. That would be with the tax assessor office.
Okay, so I have to talk to.
I can send you an application and an email regarding the applications.
Someone said they had to get like a doctor's note. I don't know if that's true. Or
If they apply for a disabled, yes.
Oh, for disabled?
Yes, that's correct.
Got it.
There's different categories, and there's an expectation of documentation if they qualify for certain categories.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Maynard?
Evening, council members and council president. I have one resolution in front of you this evening. It's agenda number 10.8, resolution 25-153. It's a resolution granting a redemption amusement game license to RPM Raceway located at 99 Caven Point Road. The purpose of this renewal is just for renewal of the state license. They've already been issued the license.
It always has to come before the council?
Yes, that's a state requirement.
Okay. And it's annual or how many? Annual. Got it. They're fun. That's all I can say.
Elizabeth?
Good evening, Council President, members of the council. Thank you for indulging us. I'll be quick. I know it's you guys get home.
If you can, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you could just identify yourself for the record.
Sure. Steve Sia, Executive Director of Jersey City Housing Authority. I was going to go through a whole list of everything and thank everybody that's on this council because every single person here has helped us over the last year greatly on a whole bunch of stuff. But I think it's important that I just talk about some quick policy stuff that we're doing so that you guys are aware and that you can bring it back to your constituents when the time arises. I think everybody knows that my position is always to increase affordable housing and access to affordability. So we're doing a few things. I got HUD to approve it. My board has already approved it. So I want to talk to you guys about it. One of the things that we've done is we've added 750 vouchers to the city. We put out an RFP. Everybody that applied received them. And now we're just going through the motion to figure out how I'm going to get them to them and what it means. It means a lot more money into the city, a lot more affordability, and it also, in effect, helps the landlords as well because it gives them the ability to provide more services. So it's a win-win. We are going to do it again in another 2 months. I'm going to add another 500 vouchers to the city. That'll bring us from 5,000 to nearly 7,000 vouchers and make us actually larger than Newark in terms of affordability. The other thing that we're doing, and I want everybody to know it so that when your constituents ask, we're going to get rid of security deposits. It's been a huge problem that I have a tenant that comes up on the list. They go in and then they can't afford to pay the security deposit and there's nowhere really to go. I mean, the county does give us some money, but not in terms of how many people actually get into housing, and it's become a problem. So we're going to get rid of it. It's not worth it to us. We're going to get rid of security deposits across the board. If you are currently in housing and you have a security deposit and you do not owe me money, you're going to get your money back. And we're going to do that. We do have people that owe us upwards of $20,000. We are working out deals with every single person because I don't want to kick anybody out, but HUD mandates that, you know, we got to get paid. So that's the second thing that we're doing. And then the third and most important, everybody here knows, and there's been council members that were very important in me getting Webb off the ground to be taken in as public housing. It is now public housing, and the property is doing much better. There are 2 more properties that I know have come before this board, one of which is 69 Storms and the other is 242 Bergen. We are about to take those properties over. So I appreciate that the city council and people in the administration have indulged me in that we are about, it's as soon as if I get notice tomorrow from HMFA, we are literally taking over. And Mira and myself have already made plans to go and meet with all the residents and explain what that means. You have a lot of residents there that don't get any subsidy. They are now going to get subsidy, and we're going to fix the place like we just did with Webb. So those are the things that I wanted to update everybody. If anybody has any questions, I know I get calls. You all have my cell phone number, but we are making repairs rapidly to all of our sites, including heat, boilers, hot water, roofs. I am not in the business of making money. If you give me the money, HUD, I spend it on the residents. So that's basically where we're at. Does anybody have any questions for me?
No, I just want to thank you, man. You've done a really great job with regards to even when people owed money, you've tried your best to make sure families had somewhere to stay. Even when it was court dates, you've given extensions. So I just want to thank you because, you know, a lot of times there's this certain disposition about people who live in housing. You know, people look at them in a certain way. And for the most part, you've respected their privacy. You've respected their position, even when you disagreed with them. And I just want to commend you for that.
Appreciate it.
Really thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
Did you increase your maintenance team? Because I know it was an issue.
Yes.
No, all right, yeah.
So one of the things that we've done, and I'm very, very proud of.
Okay.
Is, thank you, Council President, because
Right.
you reminded me of something.
Mhm.
So we have put together a program. If you live in housing, you're the first people to get hired.
Right.
So we have, and the way I've done it is we started with temporary workers. Come in, whether you be a BMW or you come in the administrative side, and then we develop you to come in and become permanent employees. Every year we've hired about 15 residents on a temporary basis, and we are just about to hire 4 of those permanent. Some of those have, for instance, one was a BMW, came in, he was just cleaning sites. He is now a boiler operator. So that is a strong position that we take. Now, in that same light, one of the things everybody knows is that you guys get a lot of calls at night about heat and hot water. So what I have done is I've made changes to the way that we staff in the evenings. One of the things we never had, and I think it's because no one ever, including myself, didn't understand there was a difference between a boiler operator and a boiler mechanic. The boiler mechanics only work during the day. That is the only people that can fix a boiler or fix a hot water heater. The operators do not do that. They just turn it on. So we're putting a boiler mechanic, we're increasing to a boiler mechanic that works from 3 to 11, which housing has never had. That is a person that will be accessible in case a real repair is needed at night for either hot water or heat. In addition, we're increasing the number of operators in the evening by 2. So where we had only 1, now we're going to have 3. And that is going to be the 3 to 11 shift. And then in addition to that, we're going to keep 1 operator from 11 to 7. So there's always somebody round the clock that can handle any of our heat and hot water issues going forward. We're also increasing the number of operators during the day by an additional 2. It's always heat and hot water. That is always the problem. So we want to make sure that we are fully staffed. And the way that the calls come in now, they go to a call center. That call center has a protocol to call the property manager, the regional manager, the director. Instead, I'm going to have an on-site person in our housing authority with all the cameras monitoring everything. That's the person that's going to get the call, and they will send out the people.
That's Steve. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Again, thank you. I just want to say, just so you know, I'm going to Washington, D.C. next week. We are gripping for some troubled times.
Yeah.
I've already seen the writing on the wall. The Newark field office has been reduced by more than 50%, and the other 50% was told you're either going to work in New York or you're fired. So I don't know how that's going to affect us. It's certainly going to affect some of the city CDBG stuff as well. But I'll have more information when I get back from Washington.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, everybody.
Safe travel.
Thank you.
And we look forward to visiting 69 Storm so they can meet you and the residents there can meet you. I know that will be a big welcome piece of relief. So thank you again for jumping up and taking over maintenance of that building should HMFA agree, which they should.
I appreciate you guys too, because when I need money for some of that stuff, you're always there. So thank you. Good night.
All right.
Okay. First reading ordinances, item 3.1, city ordinance 25-025 is an ordinance amending ordinance 22-089 that authorized the city of Jersey City to accept from 134 Bay Street LLC 3 theater condominium units within the property located at 151 Bay Street, Jersey City, and authorizing the city to accept 134 Bay Street LLC 1 residential condominium unit at 151 Bay Street. 3.2 and 3.3 were touched on earlier. 3.4, City Ordinance 25-028 is an ordinance amending Chapter 160, Fees and Charges, Chapter 175, Food Handling Establishments as regards regulation and permits for mobile food vendors.
Wait a minute, Sean. Go ahead, Isaac.
I'm short, sorry. Hello, the members of the council. Thanks for having me. I'm just going to really quickly explain this so we can get your feedback. So, my name is Isaac Smith, ISAAC SMITH.
Okay.
So this is an ordinance we're putting forward. It basically has 3 parts, all relating to the food trucks. The first is amendment to Chapter 160, amending the cost for the permit parking for the food trucks. The basic logic here is that especially the Zone 1 food truck parking is all like right in downtown. Those food trucks, basically their lifeblood is the commuters coming in and out of New York. Ever since COVID and the switch to hybrid work, they've seen a significant drop in the amounts of, frankly, in the amount of people coming to eat there. A lot of them don't even show up on certain days. So we figured it made sense just to sort of like amend the fee to match the complete transformation of that market. That's been a request from a number of the food trucks. Now, HHS did reach out to us and mentioned they felt that it was a little bit too much to cut for 40%, so we amended the draft. So it's a 20% cut which basically represents Friday, because if you go out there on a Friday, there's maybe one truck there on any given Friday. It's so little traffic going in and out of New York. For the, just so you know, also for, especially right here, that section is zone 4 parking. If it wasn't food trucks, it'd be zone 4 resident, commercial, resident permit parking. So that's what is sitting right here. And like I said, it's mostly empty. So that's the reason for that change. And particularly, again, in comparison to basically any other sort of commerce, the food trucks in zone 1 were particularly just impacted by the switch to the hybrid work after COVID. The second part is regarding the push carts. Now, there was a sort of a weird element of our code here with the different chapters don't necessarily agree, but because of that, there's sort of a rule that food trucks can't be, well, I want to Tanya's not here. There's a weird question of legality of whether food trucks can be relevant to commercial restaurants. We figured that we didn't want to touch that issue. It's a complicated issue, but we figured for the push carts, so the people that sell Italian ice, the people that sell hot dogs, most of them already are doing that. They're sitting within 200 feet on Central Avenue or places like that. We felt that it made sense to exempt them without touching the rest of that minefield. And the third part, it regards the private streets. Currently, again, in the code, it's a little bit weird, but it looks, for the most part, food trucks are not permitted in privately owned lots. We felt that privately owned streets are slightly different there, and some of the privately owned streets, the owners of private streets had mentioned the desire to do that during the summers. And this basically is restricted to Newport. A few private streets remain in Newport, right around the Exchange Place. There's Hudson Street, and in Port Liberty, Liberty Harbor North. Those are where the private streets basically exist, and they would be allowed to host food trucks if they wished. Of course, those private owners wouldn't have to know that if they do this, if they have stores that sell food or drink in those same buildings, it's sort of their, it would be, if they oversaturated, it'd be a harm to their own rentals, because the places like bars and restaurants that are brick and mortar would pay them a lot more than the food trucks. So we figured that would let them have, if those places that have private streets did feel the economics made sense for them, we felt that it was enough of a difference from a private lot, like a garage or a parking lot, that it made sense. So,
Did you meet with the SID down here?
Yeah.
which
She's
SID?
called historical downtown.
We did not meet with the SID. Our position, it's outside of the SID, but also this doesn't increase the number of food trucks anyway. The number of food trucks are set by the permits.
Right.
The permits aren't being used. The council set the number of permits. The permits aren't being used, partially because there's just no market.
What about HHS?